Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Trusteft's Retro Weekend. This time we have Balance of Power, the 1990 edition by Chris Crawford and Mindscape. A strategy game... A political strategy game. Okay, I'm just gonna start the game. First I'm gonna say that the 1990 edition is the sequel or gold edition of the original Balance of Power, which was released 88 I think, or 87. This game was released in 89 and includes everything that was in the original version, updated a couple of years later with more stats and so on, a few better graphics here and there, and a couple different options. But I'm gonna show you what this is now. Alright, so you begin, you have to choose if you're going to play as a USA or USSR, 1 or 2 players, and level of difficulty. Level of difficulty is how difficult the enemy AI will be and how many options you're going to have. And you're going to see what I mean in a few seconds. Let's start game. The game is now initializing, it will take a few seconds. This is the main map of the game and the main interface. Yeah, don't worry about that. No idea why it happens, but it happens. And yeah, basically the game initializes, every country in the world gets different stats and different events, generated actions. It's quite a lot of things, as you'll see in a few seconds when the game starts. Now the computer AI plays. The computer of course has USSR, this one, in case you don't know what USSR is or was. Alright. And these are the major events of the first turn. Before I get into play, I'm gonna have to show you the most boring part of the game. Well, for some people anyway. Go briefing and background, and you get statistics. This is statistics for every country in the world in the game. Let's choose boom boom bam boom bam. Oops. I don't know. Italy. Italy is a good country. So, relative ranks of gross national product. Italy, $272 billion, as you can see here. This shows every bit of info you need in the game. So this is GNP, gross national product. You can see military spending, how much they spend in their own national defense and all that. Consumer spending, investor spending, population, military personnel they have, active. And per nothing, per capita, per nothing means absolute values. Per capita and GNP. You can also give other information. Literacy. Come on. 98% literacy, very well. Energy. 3,106 pounds of coal equivalent. Okay, calories, how much they consume food. 3,428. Doctors, how many doctors they have per million. I think this is deaths. Yes, 21 deaths per 1,000. School enrollment 86%. 217 televisions per 1,000. Of course, all these statistics are from 1989. So yeah, they are way off today. What else can you get? Violence, protests. Not bad. 230 protests in total. Not bad. Deaths. 300 deaths. That's violent political deaths. Don't forget that there were some terrorism acts in the 80s and before that in Italy. That's riots, armed attacks, assassinations, executions. As you can see, there are many things you can do here. You can see how much they are holding in terms of political rights. They have 56 points, and if we did choose the country, you can see relative values for all countries. But we don't want to do that right now. Let's choose Italy again. Civil rights. Alright. And even more stuff here. But all these, of course, as I said, it's quite boring. They are very necessary details if you want to get more info in the game and want to play the game properly. But right now, for this video, it's not that important. Let's go to resume game. Alright, now, what can you do? You can choose Italy and click close up, or click one more on the country, and we'll get this bit of info. Now, the relationship, prestige value, military aid of USA towards Italy, or Italy towards USA and USSR. You can see we have different statistics here, all very important, very important in the game. I'm not going to go into detail for it, of course. Now, what else can you do? Now, let's see. Spheres of influence, of course. See which countries are closer to the USSR or to the USA, depending on the color, of course, over here, as you can see. Major events is the news items, the major events of the turn that passed. And since this is the first turn of the original turn. Prestige value, of course, how much powerful in prestige is its country in the world. Of course, if you click any country, you can get more info. Insurgency. Alright, we have peace, terrorism, guerrilla war, and civil war. All these events are, well, not customizable, but they do tend to change a lot depending on your actions and the actions of the opponent. Plus, in each game there are things that are slightly different. Coup d'etat, likelihood of one. Again, this information is changeable from game to game, not just from turn to turn. So you don't ever have the exact same game. It's very good. Finland, USA. Basically, which countries are closer to Finland? Can't say this. Finland. Come on, man. Finland is this one to USA, which means they're getting closer to become not puppets exactly. I don't know how to explain it without going into the actual explanation for the term. But let's say puppets, but they're not puppets. It's a different thing. They remain independent, but they are very ass-kissy of that country. Yeah. Finland, USSR, countries at war. So as you can see, these countries are at war with each other. And yeah. Now, for the actual things you can do to each country, you have to pick a target. So let's pick Tunisia. Because, I don't know, I just do. Make policies, relations, diplomatic relations with this country. This country has cordial relations with the USA and other countries, as you can see. Warm Saudi Arabia, cool Soviet Union and others. Hostile with Israel. Okay. Military aid. If Tunisia is sending money to anyone, it is shown here. Or you can say going in. And from the looks of it, Egypt and Saudi Arabia are sending money to Tunisia. interesting. Go out. Obviously it's not a war with anyone. And aid to insurgents. If they are sending aid to any rebel groups and so on, but no, they're not. And if they're sending actual troops to any country, but they're not. Or any rebels, but they're not, I think. Yeah. Alright. Of course you can do the same for your country, USA, or if you play as USSR, the USSR. So let's say this one, and where do we have troops? In Turkey, Italy, Germany, Britain, Morocco, Honduras, I think this is, yes, and this is Nicaragua. Oh no, El Salvador, I think. Come on. The map is a bit small. El Salvador, yeah. What are others? Come on. What do we have? Treaties. So mutual defense. This means if, for example, any country attacks one of the countries in red, we are at war with them immediately. No question about it. Military base, we have military base in them. Relations, that we simply have diplomatic relations, or none if we have no relationships at all. So Iran, of course, North Korea, Afghanistan, Libya, and so on. You always have to remember the date this is taking place, 1989. And you can get, of course, more info. Now, if we pick a different country than our own, Libya, we have make policies options. So, let's say military aid. We can give money to the government. We cannot give money to the government now because we have no relationship to them. No relations to them. Alright? Come on. Aid to insurgents. We can give some money. We can start with 20 million, depending how big the insurgents move is in the country at question. We can slowly give them more and more and more, but first we have to start somewhere. I'm not going to do it now. You can send troops to governments, to rebels, economic aids. Okay, and again, we can do nothing with Libya because of poor relations with them. But if, for example, we choose Greece, come on, pick, good. Economic aid, we have options. Or sending troops for the government, you have options. Okay, let's stick to Libya for now. Actually, let's go to something a bit more neutral. India. Well, it's not neutral, but anyway. Economic aid, destabilize. You can destabilize the country, of course. This means we're trying to basically collapse their government. In case you have the options to encourage dissidents or fund opposition inside riots, provoke assassinations, or, of course, support coup d'etat. For all this to happen, for example, let's say you choose support coup d'etat, it's not going to successfully go ahead unless you have spent time and money and perhaps even troops into destabilizing the country, supporting the opposition, supporting any rebel groups, and making it ready for the government to collapse. So it's not just choose coup d'etat and it happens. What else do we have? Stabilize, as I said, of course. Treaties, you can sign good treaties with them. From no relations to diplomatic relations, trade relations, military bases, conventional defense, and nuclear defense. What else? Diplomatic trade policy. Now, this is also very important. You can choose how good or bad your trade relations will be with the country. So you can have embargo, which means, of course, you are not trading anything with them. Actually, it's much worse than that. You are actually trying to blockade other countries to trade with India, in this case. You forbid sale of high-tech items. You have trade quotas, so you can only trade goods up to certain value or certain number. Stiff tariffs. You allow trade, but you impose tariffs, so they pay taxes, extra taxes, and your consumers pay extra taxes when they import goods from that country. Normal trade is what you expect to be the normal thing. Favored trade is when there are no taxes, or there are very, very small taxes between two countries for trade. And there are other favorable things, like, for example, fewer hassles in trading with each company, and it goes deep. Alright, okay, so these are the options you can do to help or destroy your relations with some country, or make them pay for something, and so on. Okay, let's check major events. Revolution in okay, here, Zaire. Oops, I double clicked. Okay, let's click once. Zaire, from the looks of it, is supported, the government supported mostly by us. You can see the government relationship with USA is cordial. USSR cool, and the Soviets are actually giving 100 million to the insurgents, who are not powerful enough to have a name, but they exist. Funnily enough, we don't have any treaty with them, but they do. And also the whole country is very close to falling, let's say, towards the USSR than us. They have a minor guerrilla war control. Anyway, government philosophy is centrist. Insignificant military power, which means most likely they will not have a good chance of defending themselves if, for example, USSR decides to send quite a lot of troops to them, to the insurgents, the rebels. So what else can we do here? Well, we can check the newspaper of Zaire, which basically gives us information about some of the events that happened in Zaire in this turn. So we have here, widely cheering Zairians attend installation of new president and wife, okay. FNLC forces triumphantly occupy Kinshasa, alright. And government buys out foreign-owned banks. Here you can see the influence from the Soviet Union. Very interesting, very interesting. Alright, let's check. We can do events and check USSR actions. USSR Other, as it's called here. And these are minor things that USSR did, or positive things for our side that they did. So you can see here they slashed their aid to Vietnam to nothing, pulled out soldiers from Poland, Gorbachev announces cuts in economic assistance for Vietnam to nothing, okay, and so on. There are many things here they did. But if we click on USSR actions, alright, let's see. China accuses Soviet Union of funding the opposition. These are actions which actually can be negative for us as USA, or can be useful for us in that we can actually say something and perhaps push USSR to change their actions. So let's see, for this event, China accused Soviet Union of funding the opposition. These are our advisors. Alright, we have a small information tab here about China. Of course, they are in neither sphere of influence. In 89, government stability is stable, rate of change weakening slowly. Our advisors say they'll rim us with on this one. Basically, we don't stand a chance of succeeding in pressuring the USSR, changing their actions on this. If it is of course true, China might be lying. Now, in Soviet Union dispatches first combat troops in support of Yugoslavian government. Again, due to their already having military bases on Yugoslavia and having good relations with the government, they are definitely not going to back up if we try to pressure them. Soviet Union dispatches large military forces in support of Czechoslovakian government. Nothing can do again. Czechoslovakia was at the time part of the Warsaw Pact. So yeah. I mean, we have the option to do it, but it's not going to end well. Soviet Union dispatches massive military power in support of North Korean government. Again, wow. The Soviets have 500,000 troops there. Amazing. But yeah, cannot really do anything about this. Oh, I can ask them. Okay, let's try this. And because the game does the video goes quite long, I'm gonna stop the video soon. So this game, you try to do actions which will be counter. How can I say? There will be questioned by the USSR if you play as USA, and they will try to pressure you to change your actions, or they are going to try to find other ways to make you lose your influence in other countries. And you're supposed to do the same. You try to gain support, try to gain more countries under your influence, sphere of influence, while making the other country, Soviet Union, to lose their support, lose prestige, and lose power. Alright, and at all times you must avoid a nuclear war, because if you go to nuclear war, the game is over. And this time I'm not going to back down, although I should. Okay, so this is a case where the USSR are absolutely not going to back down. And you can see here USSR interest utmost. We have insignificant interest. Our advisors say don't go near this, and I'm going to not go away. I'm going to challenge them. Prestige at risk. These are how many prestige points are at risk. So if I win 304 points. If the Soviets win, they win 304. So I questioned, and their answer was, this affair is absolutely not subject to warmongering involvement. Okay, I'm going to threaten them. Ooh. Alright, let's go DEFCON 3. And they are not backing down. Now, if I go DEFCON 1, it's nuclear war. If I back down, I lose 926 points, but not the game. Of course, I'm not going to back down. Or actually, no, DEFCON 1. You have ignited the nuclear war, and no, there's no animated display of a mushroom cloud with parts of bodies flying through the air. We do not reward failure. And yeah, this is it. A fantastic game. Absolutely fantastic game. I didn't get most of it. Well, not most of it. I didn't get large parts of it as a kid. But now it looks even better than it did back then. You are going to have a great time if you are willing to invest your time in this game. If you want something very action oriented, just stay away. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.